Welcome back. Today, we're diving straight into a massive engine driving our modern world, the public budget. We're going to decode exactly how governments spend their money. You see, in the study of public finance, expenditure is the absolute central engine, kind of like how consumption drives our own personal wallets. Let's find out how economists actually classify where all those trillions of dollars end up going.
When a government is managing billions or even trillions in funds, keeping track of it all is a highly complex problem. You can't just toss everything into one giant expenses folder, right? We're dealing with internal peace, border defense, economic development, social welfare, the whole shebang. With all these massive competing objectives, economists really need a strict, logical system to classify every single dollar spent.
So let's map out our journey. We're exploring three master categories today. First, revenue versus capital expenditure. Second, developmental versus non-developmental. And third, productive versus unproductive.
Starting right off with Master Category 1, revenue versus capital expenditure.
Notice the direct contrast we have here. On one side, revenue expenditure is your current, recurring cost. We're talking things like civil administration, defense, and public health. Historically, this is known as non-developmental. On the flip side, capital expenditure covers non-recurring costs, like constructing buildings or steel plants, which is known as developmental expenditure.
To really grasp this, just think of it like your own personal budget. Revenue expenditure, that's like paying your monthly utility bill. It's recurring, it keeps the lights on, but it doesn't actually create a new asset. Capital expenditure, though, is like buying a house. It's a solid investment in a long-term asset, whether that's land, buildings, machinery, or equipment.
Let's make this a bit more concrete. When the government spends money in this capital category, they are actively increasing the productive capacity of the entire economy. We're talking about the heavy lifting here, constructing new buildings, massive infrastructure like dams, and heavy industry like steel plants. Interestingly, this also includes financial assets. For example, if a central government grants loans and advances to state governments, that's classified as capital expenditure. But if they simply give them a grant and aid, well, that falls right back under revenue expenditure.
Moving right along to Master Category 2, developmental versus non-developmental expenditure. The crucial point here is how we divide the wallet between active economic promotion and necessary but non-growth administrative upkeep. Developmental expenditure refers to spending incurred directly on the economic and social development of the country. This includes things like transport and communication networks. Non-developmental expenditure, however, is spending that doesn't directly promote economic development. It's essentially the maintenance of the state, so administrative services, the police, defense, and the administration of justice.
Now, here's where the source material gets really fascinating. The concept of human capital actually forced economists to change their own rules. Human capital refers to the economic value of a worker's experience, skills, and health. For a really long time, economists debated exactly where to put spending that impacted people rather than physical infrastructure.
And this brings us to a great narrative twist in economic history. Up until relatively recently, expenditure on education and health was actually regarded as non-developmental. It was viewed kind of like an administrative cost of running a society. But it's now been realized that spending on education and public health actively promotes the growth of human capital, which in turn heavily drives economic growth. So these days, expenditures on education, research, and health have rightfully shifted and are generally included as developmental expenditure, a real game changer.
On the other side of the coin, we have true non-developmental spending. Now, these are the absolute essential services required to run a nation. I mean, you can't have a functioning economy without administrative services, police, defense forces, and general administration. It also includes grants to state governments for non-developmental purposes. These are absolutely vital for maintaining peace, discipline, and security, which are primary objectives of public expenditure, even if they aren't directly pumping up the economic development numbers.
And finally, Master Category 3, productive versus unproductive expenditure.
This categorization forces us to look at money as either a proactive investment in capacity or a reactive consumption of resources. Productive expenditures are investment-natured. They actively help in improving the productive capacity of the entire economy. Unproductive expenditures are consumption-natured, meaning they don't directly add to the productive efficiency of the economy.
So, productive expenditures are investments that generally take two main forms. First, Physical assets. Think of machinery, facilities, and physical infrastructure that allow an economy to literally produce more goods and services. Second, they take the form of human capital. This goes right back to what we were just talking about with education, training, and public health. Equipping the workforce with better skills and keeping them healthy directly expands what the entire economy is capable of achieving.
Okay, we have to address the elephant in a room here, because nobody likes being called unproductive. It is absolutely vital to clarify that classifying spending on administration, defense, or justice as unproductive does not mean it's a waste of money. No way! As the text explicitly points out, they are simply in the nature of consumption rather than investment. They don't add to economic efficiency directly, but securing internal peace and protecting the country are mandatory objectives. It's consumption, yes, but it is entirely necessary consumption.
So, the next time you hear a news report about a massive government budget, don't just fixate on the total dollar amount. Try looking through these three lenses. Is the spending revenue or capital? Is it developmental or non-developmental? Is it a productive investment or necessary unproductive consumption? Actually, I challenge you to look at your own local government's budget this week using these exact frameworks. Are they balancing productive investments for the future against the daily consumption needed to keep society running? Decoding that balance is the ultimate key to understanding their true priorities.